it's Sara from Sara's Texture Graphs. Welcome to my podcast, Dreaming in Fibre. You can find the show notes for today's show at dreaminginfibre.blogspot.co.uk, and you can find me and my shop at sarastexturecrafts.com. So how are you? How have you been? It's the 23rd of April here, so the day before I depart for Wonderwall, Wales. So I thought I would get a quick podcast in and catch you up on some whips and things I've been doing in the shop, some acquisitions as such, and yeah, just have a bit of a chat with you before I depart for the show, partly to kind of relax and try and calm the nerves a bit for the show. I've got everything done, just kind of, yeah, waiting now. So without further ado, let's get into time and review. Okay, so what have I been up to? Well, since I last spoke to you, we had Easter, so that was a great weekend because obviously you get 4 days off here in the UK. That was just a really nice treat. We had good weather here, and we tried to go out for days. So we did some dog walking and caught up with a few people, and yeah, just generally had a good time. Nice and relaxing as well it was. So it was a good treat to have that after you know, a lot of hard work, and obviously the lead up now to Wonderwall. What else have I been doing? Well, I've been acquiring bits and pieces, so let's catch you up on that, shall we? Okay, so in stash enhancement, I haven't been out purchasing, but because I've been producing for Wonderwall Wales, there are always the odd occasional bit that tends to slip into my own stash. And part of that is because I need to fill up a dye pot, and I'm using odds and ends from the end of bags and things like that, so they're not quite able to go to the show themselves as sellable pieces. At least that's what I tell myself. It is quite nice to occasionally have bits for yourself, right? So first up, I've been dyeing lots of gradients for Wonderwall, and so I decided I would dye myself a gradient. This is on Oatmeal Blueface Leicester, and I'm looking forward to spinning this. This is my colour Rumba, which I normally do on a white base, but actually I quite like the way it's turned out on that oatmeal base, so I'm wondering whether that might be something that I do for the shop, and I'll talk a bit more about the shop and shop news in a moment or two, catch you up on that. And then the next was a short bump of another gradient, which is based loosely on my Ilfracombe colourways. Again, this was a short skein, so it couldn't go to the show, and I'd finished all of my bats, so it stayed with me. I also kept myself a bat because I want to start spinning a lot more bats, because at some point in the future on the blog I want to do a series on how to spin bats and different things that you can do with bats. So I kept this one. It's Blueface Leicester and Svarbles mix. This is my Svarbles is my straight from the farm top, and the Blueface Leicester is hand dyed mixture of colour cranberry and rose, I think. And then finally I have I've been doing some one-of-a-kind braids as well for the show, and I've also been doing yarns as well if you're a knitter, so watch out for those. And I've decided that I will probably do more of this kind of thing for the shop. Anyway, this colourway is dyed on grey Shetland base, and I've dyed it with quite bright colours, but as you can see the greyness of the Shetland has dulled it down just a touch to make it maybe slightly more wearable, arguably. So I'm looking forward to spinning that, and I think I'm probably going to save the recipe for this one and make it a colourway in the shop. So that's what I have. So I haven't bought anything yet, but Wonderwall Wales is coming up, so who knows? There may be more stash acquisitions next time, so I'll talk about more of those if I get any in the next podcast, but for these I'm just really looking forward to getting back on the wheel and spinning. I think that's what's kind of in my head. yes, it's been a while, what with illnesses and things, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And also I've decided I'm going to take part in the Fibre spinning competition, so I probably, you know, won't win. I don't think my spinning is fantastic or anything like that, but I just thought it would be fun to enter. So these might give me some ideas for some colourways that I might choose to spin up. So again, I'll give you more of an update on that in the next episode or two. Okay, next let's talk about what's happening in the shop. Okay, so what's been happening at sarastexturecrafts.com? Well, there's been a couple of things this month that I've tried to do. First of all, I'll walk you through some of the changes to how the website looks and how it works for you. And then we'll get on to some stock news. Sorry, pressed something naturally. Trying to be all professional here. Okay, so that's the home page of the website, which I think is reading backwards. Hopefully on your screen it's not. But as you can see up the top, I've added some pictures, and then as usual you've got all of your categories down the side here. You will notice on the knitting yarn, which is up the top, I've added, if I pick the variegated page, you'll see up the top of the variegated page I've added some examples of how yarns might knit up, and then underneath you've got lots of colourways. So if I scroll, you know, you've got your usual colourways. On top of that, what I've also done, trying to be all fancy like, is I've also got a category underneath knitting by dye techniques as knitting in colour. So if, for example, you choose the blue, then you'll get all of the blue, or every yarn that has blue in it, on one page, trying to make life a little bit easier. And I'll also add in other categories for weights and things like that. And then there will probably, more than likely, in the next month be a category that says in stock now. Essentially, the way my yarn and hand dyed fibre works is that everything's dyed to order. That way it's kind of a more sustainable business, in that I can offer you the right product at the right time. You know, you get to choose what that is. So I sit on my grade stock, I wait for your order to come in, and then I dye it. Dyeing usually takes around a week, so it's not too much of a wait for you. And then you get what you want on the base you want it on. So anything from 4-ply right through to Aran, and then there are a number of bases in between. So I'm hoping that that's trying to make things a little bit easier. But what will happen with this in-stock category is it means that when I come back from a show, if I have anything left over, I can put that up there so that you can see immediately what I have available if you want something slightly sooner, or you've forgotten a last minute gift and you just want to add to cart. There won't be huge quantities in that section of any one colourway on any one base, purely because you know, I'll dye those larger orders to order. So for example, if you wanted a sweater in colour embers, it's best that you buy that all at once, and what I'll do is I'll dye that to orders so that I can try and get the best match for all of those skeins as possible. The other thing I did as well is I've tried to add a how to make an order page, because I do have some customers who are either new to internet shopping or certainly new to my website, so I wanted to try and make life a little bit easier by providing you information. So that walks you step by step on how to order and what those ordering pages look like. That also gives you, there's a couple of opportunities there to add in any coupon codes as you get them. Having done this, I also coincided a change with how the checkout works so that it's a much easier process. So if you're new to the site, again, it should make life a lot easier for you. So that's pretty much it for sort of the technical shop stuff that's been happening this month. As I mentioned, there will be this kind of in-stock category that goes up. Coinciding with that will be an amount of fibre and yarn that I dye probably for shows and that will come back from shows that will be completely limited edition and exclusive. So for example, if we go back to talking about the knitting yarn exclusively, for example, at the moment of all of the dye techniques I have, the only one that has limited edition or limited amounts of stock is the gradient and colour block yarns. That will remain the same, but I may add some new dye techniques in that are also limited edition. The reason I'm doing that is it means that it gives me a sense of creativity beyond just general production and just going through the process of producing those same colours in bulk for you every month. It means that if I do a mini shop update, maybe partway through the month or at the beginning of the month, I can fill you with gradient yarns, who knows, maybe a bit of self-striping, but there are lots of other new techniques that I want to add as well, and so they will be in stock items. I will only add those to that in stock category, but I will also add some of them to my Etsy shop as well, sarastexturecrafts.etsy.com. I've had a call out for people who would like to buy gradient yarns via Etsy, so I don't know, we'll give it a go and see how it works out, but that's kind of my plan for the shop, I guess, in the next month or so. Yes, apart from that, it's just prep for Wonderwall Wales that I've been doing, so I've been dyeing actually quite a lot, which is quite worrying because I probably didn't need to dye that much after Plush not doing so well. But we'll see, hopefully it will go. I've had lots of interest and I know I have lots of people coming to see me at Wonderwall, so I'm hoping that the majority of that should go quite nicely. Also the other thing that it did afford me, having the time to dye but also knowing that I had stock, was it meant that I could go through, say for example, the yarns or even the hand-dyed tops and look at where my gaps were and look at where I was really low on something and introduce a new batch. So that was quite good. So I feel like I'm much more able to put on a really, really good example of Sara's Texture Crafts at this show, so fingers crossed. Again, I will video from the show, and that will be the next podcast for you, so watch out for that. So let's go into what I'm working on. So as you can see, there's been quite a parade of finished objects in this house, but I have a feeling it's been probably a good couple of months since I really showed you what I was working on. So yeah, lots finished. So I'll start with some of the projects that I haven't got that I've just shown you pictures for. So first of all was back to that malachite gilet. I did that for my mum, and oh sorry, move the table there. I had 4 skeins of my malachite yarn, and I've got 2 skeins left, so I was really pleased with that. That was a quicker knit than I thought it would be. That's a free pattern on Ravelry, so I'll link to that in the show notes at dreaminginfibre.blogspot.co.uk. I've knit this cardigan probably about 4 times now, so I totally recommend it. It's very easy, and it's very easy to adapt as well. So I finished that one, which was quite nice. The buttons I used on it, again, I will link to in the show notes. These were, I bought them from Etsy. That's probably better colouring. They're quite a nice sort of tan brown, and they pick up the colours in the malachite yarn quite nicely, the olives and the browns in there. So that worked quite well. The next thing, which is a whip from quite a while ago, actually, sorry, leaning over, bad podcaster, was the Sara Heart and Soul socks. So I've got quite a lot of that sock yarn left, probably more than enough to make myself a pair of socks. My overall feelings about this yarn, which was my first time using it, is it does feel quite, not scratchy, but it's quite haloed as a wool yarn. I don't know whether you can, yeah, you can just about see that there. Quite fluffy, and that makes it feel almost slightly coarse by comparison to other sock yarns I've used, but actually it was quite nice to work with. It was quite fine, I think, by comparison to some yarns, probably a bit closer to the Drops Fable yarn that I was using a little while ago, but I definitely recommend it, and I bought this from loveknitting.com. The next pair of socks was the Totnest socks that I've made for the sample for the shop. That's what I've got left, so I've got lots and lots left. I'm hoping to maybe incorporate this in another project that I'll be able to use possibly as an example on the website. But I'm loving the way the colours work on that, and the sample came up lovely. Really enjoyed knitting it. So I'm just going to pop that right behind you there. And then the final pair of socks, yeah, socks are my thing at the moment still, are from a skein of yarn on my sparkle base. The Totnest pair that I just showed you the yarn for, that was on my standard superwash base, which is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon, and you get 425 metres in your 100 grams. That's really nice and soft to work with, and the stitch definition is fantastic. This one is my sparkle base. Again, it's nice to use. It feels slightly more robust, I think, and it works great for socks, but I think it would also be good for a multitude of other things, maybe even a cardi or something like that. But this was a skein that I knit up that was kind of a mistake, really. It was another colourway gone wrong, but actually it's come up quite nicely. In the picture you saw, you can see it's much more blended than I probably originally intended, but there's lots of depth in the colours. So you've got some tealy blues, some going to greens, then going right down to my Wedgwood blue. So I quite like those, and it's quite nice just to be able to knit something that's much more blended than I would normally do. Not dissimilar to the overwashed Totnest yarn that I showed you. So I'm going to revisit this and maybe see if I can come up with a repeat recipe. The problem with the mistakes is that they're often something that happens in the dye pot, so it's kind of hard to record and recreate. So we shall see, though. We shall see. On top of that, I decided, as I was deciding to knit all of these things for the website to give you examples, I thought it was about time I knit up some hats, just so you've got something other than socks to show you my yarn in. So this is my, well, this is an old base, but it's my colour denim. Honestly, I do know what I'm doing, honestly. And this is my Brixham hat. So you can see on the Brixham hat you've got the texture that forms a nice crown shape. And it's quite slouchy. I quite like a slouch hat, but there's no reason why you couldn't do something a bit more beanie style by adapting the pattern. I do have that pattern for sale at sarastexturecrafts.com. It's also on Ravelry. That's the Brixham hat. Again, that's knitted in semi-solids, and on this skein particularly, and you'll get this if you don't alternate skeins on larger projects, but you can see a bit of flashing of darker saturation and then the lighter saturation. That's probably better at showing you the saturation differences, although not the correct colour. But love how that knit up. That was very easy. And then this is the same hat I knit in an Aran chunky weight hand spun from my colour Embers on Dorset Horn top. In the shop you can get it on Blueface Leicester, Falkland Polworth, Blueface Leicester Silk, Blueface Leicester and Sparkle, and something else I think, Exmoor Blueface. So I spun this up in an Aran chunky, and I had 113 metres, and I've got quite a substantial ball left actually. I did this a fairly shorter length, and it's much more fitted, as you can see, and actually I ended up shortening it because as I was knitting it, Darren decided that it was going to be his. So he prefers a shorter hat, and he's also got a smaller head than me. I know, big head. So this is only a slight element of slouch on him, as you saw in the picture, but he loves it. I have to admit, I really loved how it knit up, how it spun up. I enjoy the colour, and I need to make something for myself. On the Dorset Horn, I have to say the orange that's actually in Embers didn't come up very orange. In this one it came out quite peachy, which I think is why this braid ended up in my stock box, my stash box I should say. But yeah, really enjoyed how that worked up, and I think Darren's going to enjoy wearing it. Certainly the weather this winter was cold enough for it, so hopefully next winter we should get some more cold weather and he'll be able to wear it. So that's what I've been finishing. I'm just going to get myself together and then I'll show you what I'm working on. Okay, so the first whip that I have for you is a pair of socks, and that's on a crazy Zauberball sock yarn. You get 420 metres, and it's 75% wool and 25% polyamide. The colourway, I know the colourway as Riverbank, but I don't know. Let me see, that's almost how the colour shows up. But I don't really know if that's something that Chapeau Vola have called the yarn. I'm trying to see if I can see a number. I've got 11531507. Fantastic colour name, it really rolls off the tongue. But I know this as Riverbank, and I don't know whether that's because when I used to stock this yarn in the shop, when I was turning my hand at commercial yarns, whether that was something that UK stockists gave this colourway as a name, I don't know. But anyway, these are the socks, so you will have seen them in the picture, so not a fantastic shot there, but socks nonetheless. Let's see if I can lighten this up a bit. There we go. Yeah, so not fantastic at colour there, but you can see that I've turned the heel and I'm going up the foot. This is actually something that my mum purchased, with the idea that I might knit her some socks. So I'm coming along with this. The only thing I'm finding is that the yarn is very fine, and also because it's quite hairy, I'm finding that it does play up with my allergies at the moment, so I'm sort of knitting on it but not furiously. It's probably only in the last few days that I've really sort of got somewhere with it. So that's the first one, which I'm going to put over here. Then, and you're going to have to excuse me because I'm going to have to do some bending down, so let's play a little bit of music while I wait. The second one is I did literally about a row on this, I think, since I last showed it to you. This is the Wave Shawlette by Kirsten Finlay of Skane, Australia, and I think it's probably pretty much where it was last time. I don't think I have desperately knit on this. And this is where the title comes into play, where I'm talking about a craft along, because I need to finish knitting this up. First and foremost because I want this as a project. Secondly because it's a great example of my shine base in colour pewter. So it would be good for the website, but it would also be good to take to shows as well. And also I have started this craft along. It's over on the Ravelry group, the Sara's Texture Crafts Ravelry group, and I need to finish this, and I need to finish 3 other shawls in May to September. So there's your time frame. From May the 1st till September the 30th we're going to be knitting shawls. The idea is that you are going to help motivate me to knit these shawls as samples for the website and the shows. And secondly, we're going to come together and use this as a bit of a community thing. So the rules are very simple. You need to cast on at least 1 shawl during May to September and come in and join the conversation. I'm not expecting you to finish anything, so there are no prizes. It doesn't matter how many shawls you finish. I personally want to get 4 done, but if you only get 1 done or half of 1 done, that's fine. It's about the conversation and the motivation for each other. I don't mind what you knit or how you make this shawl, I should say. So you can knit it, you can crochet it, you can weave it, you could felt it, as long as it's a sort of woolly craft. So if it's like a rag rug hooked shawl of some description, I don't know, then that's fine by me. The point of it is that I need motivation, so I need you guys to chat to me along in the thread whilst you're doing yours, give me a little bit of interest, a little bit of inspiration, but also motivate me to get these shawls knit, you know, because I kind of want them for probably mid-September so that I can take them to the West Point show at the end of September. But if the worst comes to the worst, at least those pictures will be up on the website for you know, coming up to the Christmas period, and then next year I'll be able to trot them out on the show circuits. I don't mind what you knit in, so if your budget only buys you acrylic, then that's fine. If your budget buys you silk and beads, then that's fine too. I will be knitting with my bases. The only thing I'm asking is that we don't kind of over-advertise, you know, any particular brand or any particular product during the thing, and at the same time I won't preach the wonders of my yarn at you either. You'll just get to enjoy watching me knit these shawls and hopefully the joy of motivating me to do so. So if you fancy that, please do come along to Sara's Texture Crafts group on Ravelry. You can also find a link for this will be up on the website sarastexturecrafts.com, and then there will be a link on my blog at craftsoftexture.com. Okay, so there are plenty of ways to find the craft along, and you can contact me via all of those things and I'll point you in the right direction too, so please come along and have a play. Finally, I'm going to reach for the last work in progress, which is my cardie. This is going to mean I'm completely out of shot for a while, so enjoy the background scenery as I bend down. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I'm knitting this from King Cole's, let me get the ball bound, bamboo cotton. There's a skein. I've got two colours, I've got the silver colour and I've got a pastel blue colour. Each ball is 100 grams, it's 50% bamboo viscose and 50% cotton. You get about 230 metres per skein. It's nice to knit with, it's nice and soft. As you can see, that's the two colours. Because it's cotton, there's a creaseability to this, so I'm going to have to block it and keep it nice. This is basically my own design, if you like. Very simple. If you follow the blog craftsofTexture.com, and I'll link in the show notes as well, I'm doing a series on how I'm putting this together and, you know, my kind of maths and, you know, how I'm doing on it. And you can follow the process, and then at the end, if conceivably I can get some kind of recipe together for it, then I will show it to you. The main book that I have been using, I'll have to bend down again, I'm sorry, is, and I think I probably showed this to you before, Top Down Sweaters by Abound. I found this quite useful on just the basic idea, but I also used elements of the gilet pattern that I'm going to post the link for in the show notes as well, that you have just seen the malachite finished version of. Sorry, just pop that down again. But as you can see, this is where I'm at. Yay! So I've got under the armhole, and I was going to continue to knit down the bottom of the body, but what I find is, well, this is what I find, where I've got my sleeve head holes on these cords for my interchangeables, the little toggles on the end that stop them from falling out and losing stitches becomes entangled in the working yarn, which is it just becomes annoying. So what I've done is I've actually gone back and started on the sleeve. So you can see, just started working there, just decreased slightly, and I'm going into the rib for that sleeve. So it's going to be short sleeve, and I think that's fine. I mean, I could probably wear it this time of year, early autumn definitely, and then I could wear it in the winter with you know, a long sleeve t-shirt underneath or something. But it's knitting up quite nicely, I'm enjoying that. Don't think it's going to be knit anytime fast, purely because I've got shows, I've got the shawl knit along kind of deadline thing, self-imposed malarkey that you come up with, and yeah, and just stuff. So, but I don't mind. I'm not in a huge rush for this as a finished garment. It's just sort of going through the idea of trying to learn a bit more about how to create a sweater pattern, and also trying to create something that I feel I enjoy wearing. I have knit sweaters in the past, and I'm certainly enjoying this whole top-down scenario. I feel that I get a much better fit. I feel it suits much more bespoke knitting styles. But I don't know that I really love everything that I've knit so far. In fact, I don't tend to wear them. My easy throw-on sweaters, you know, I might wear them a couple of times, but the easy throw-on stuff that I love to death are commercial pieces, and I kind of think, well, I would like a hand knit version of that, and one day a hand spun hand knit version of that. So I'm kind of playing with ideas, playing with designs, playing with concepts and ways to create that perfect sweater. I don't know, it may all go complete boobs up, as they say, but we'll see. we shall see. I'm enjoying knitting on it. I'm enjoying the process, and it's, you know, I'm kind of learning as I go along, which is quite nice as well. So we shall see. So that, I think, is kind of it. I'm just going to look behind me. Yeah, that's it. So that's all of my whips. That's everything I've been working on. I hope that whatever you have been doing, whatever you've been up to, you've been having fun and enjoying yourself. The weather here has been fantastic over the last couple of weeks, so I really hope it's been good for you too, in whichever hemisphere you are in. Next time, as I say, will be Wonderful Wales episode. I'm going to start filming that from tomorrow when I'm in the van and the whole setup day. Wish me luck. Kind of nervous, but excited all at the same time. Wonderful is almost like going home for me, really. It's probably the show I've done, or the longest running show that I've been doing. So yeah, it's kind of nice to catch up. I like it. I enjoy the atmosphere, and I have, you know, sort of my regulars that come as well, which is quite nice. So looking forward to it. So please wish me luck, because you can tell I'm a little bit nervous. I've got to now go off and make sure I've got tables and plastic bags and my labelling stuff, and, you know, go through my little last minute to-do list before I pack the van. So I'll leave you to your knitting and your cup of tea, and enjoy your day wherever you are, and I shall see you soon. So long may you dream in fibre, as I say, and I'll catch you again soon. Cheers, guys.
There's a voice keeps on calling me.
What have you got there,
down the
Patch?
road, that's where I'll always be. Every stop I make, I'll make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow
What you got there, Patch?
I wanna settle down.
Hey?
Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Down this road that never seems to end. When you adventure,
Come on then, let's go.
just around the bend. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's Hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, the whole world is my home.
Good
So
girl,
if you
Patch.
wanna join me for a while,
Good girl.
just grab your hat, come travel light, that's Hobo style.
Nice.
Maybe tomorrow I wanna settle down. Until
Hey,
tomorrow,
Patch.